Churchill said there's nothing wrong in change. To improve is to change, so to be perfect is to have changed often. Today we're going to make his hat.
Hi, I'm Gabriel.
This channel is all about the stories of some great people, where I make projects and search for that bit of wisdom that set these people apart.
Check them out and leave me a comment. You could also like and subscribe to see more.
Churchill smoked cigars, wore a hat, gave great speeches and led Britain to victory in the Second World War. But what wisdom did he have that made it all possible? Lord Randolph Churchill wanted his son to pursue a military career, but shortly after his death, Winston returned to pursue a political one. After failing his first election attempt and losing faith in the popularity of his party, Winston switched hats, using his lineage and contacts to advance him in a career as a war correspondent. Despite seeing great success in the field, Churchill realised that he would need to achieve more in order to gain the kind of political influence he wished for, so he returned to the military. On his second stint in the army, Churchill served in several countries and survived some deadly battles. But the turning point came while in Africa, when he was taken as a prisoner of war. His coverage during the Boers attack of a train that was carrying troops and reconnaissance gained him international recognition and saved the lives of many troops that were on the train. Most of us today have never heard about how he stood and directed his comrades in direct line of fire for over an hour, until eventually he and some of his comrades were caught and put in a prisoner of war camp. And Churchill hated prison. So much, in fact, that he scaled the outer perimeter fence and escaped at night. And he did it with just 3 bars of chocolate, a 300-mile gap between him and safety, and a price on his head, dead or alive. This achieved 2 things. 1, the fame and glory that he'd been searching for, and 2, he became a symbol of encouragement for the failing war effort. Churchill, at the end of the war, himself rode a horse into the capital and liberated the remaining soldiers in that prison where he had been kept. This made him a household name and also launched his political career. The next time he switched back to politics, he was voted in 1900 with no struggle. But the great changes of his life were barely underway. In the years that followed, he was to leave the Conservative Party to join the Liberals, to fight for and bring in many liberal reforms, including 8-hour working days for miners, reforms to the prison system, and the first ever minimum wage. He even set up taxes for the wealthy to help fund social care programmes. When World War I struck, Churchill supported the Gallipoli campaign, which proved to be perhaps the largest tactical error of his career. When it failed, Churchill once again sought change, once more leaving politics and returning to the military where he regained his honour. He of course returned again in 1916, back to politics. Even after the Great War, his political career continued to be dramatic. He both lost and regained his seat. He switched political parties again, this time back to the Conservatives, where he served as Chancellor of the Exchequer until 1929, when they were voted out. But over the next 10 years, Churchill's star appeared to decline. He supported himself through his writing, whilst becoming more and more politically isolated. His views on free trade, India, the King, and the need for Britain to rearm in response to Hitler all served to harm his reputation and cut him off from politics. A few years later, with his political career in tatters, Churchill was to effect the greatest change of his career. But this time, he was not to change himself. Sticking to his guns, Churchill called once again for a Ministry of Defence and a new attitude toward Germany. And in so doing, he was to change the entire direction of British politics at the time, and the course of history. He was finally perfect for the job his entire life had been leading him towards. A job that required him to bring all the political parties together, to know the military and the machinations of war, to show immense literary and oratorical skill, and most of all, a job that needed someone who could change rapidly in the right direction. Churchill changed the world by first changing himself. There is nothing wrong in change, he said, if it is in the right direction. To improve is to change, so to be perfect is to have changed often.